look at that!
I watched that tummy shot and I was like, that looks unreal.
I think if you blast somebody with like pressurized air, that's what happens.
Are you sure? Oh,
Wow.
whoa, wow, this is really evolving.
Like, are they doing rear projection for this or setting up some sort of like image on a screen within the set? Because that's what it seems like to me.
MPC made this with their in-house crowd sim tool called Alice.
There's two guys in the same blue shirt.
Dude, immediately he got it. This guy has an eye.
Yeah, wait.
Yes.
I see them, yeah.
Like, look at the shot.
It's crazy.
Look at that glass refraction.
Behind, yes.
Sorry, I mean.
Thanks to Grammarly for sponsoring this video. What's up, everybody? We have an awesome React episode for you today, but before we get there, I'm gonna tell you about today's sponsor, Grammarly. As you guys know, I'm the producer here at Corridor Dojo, but I'm also the business manager. That means I talk to all the different brands, our React guests, and all outside communication at Corridor. For this reason, I've actually been using Grammarly for years. So the first thing that stood out to me for Grammarly was the typo fixer. It's basically automatic, and it automatically tells you when it senses a typo, and you can literally just by a click of a button fix that typo right then and there. You actually use Google Chrome all the time, so they have a browser extension. It's simply download and add to it, and then anything you type within Chrome, it gives you a little red line if it senses a typo. Now that I'm on the Grammarly Premium program, they have amazing features that just help me step up my communication game. It's called the Confidence Tone Suggestion. Like this screen cap example right here. I wrote, I think we should consider rescheduling this meeting from this week to next week. The Confidence Tone Reframing Suggestion just says, let's consider moving the meeting from this week to next week. It's straight and to the point. You sound confident, you sound professional. It's a really cool tool to help you reframe your sentences to come off confident. It's actually free to make a Grammarly account, and you can use the typo correction feature right away. If you go to grammarly.com/CorridorCrew, you can get started right now. But if you'd like to up your game and try out the Confidence Reframing Suggestion tool, you can get Grammarly Premium for 20% off if you use the link in the description below. It is a tool that I believe you need to put in your arsenal. That's it for me. Happy writing, and now let's get to this awesome React episode.
Hey guys, welcome back to VFX Artists React. We have touched our crystals this morning. We are filled with positive energy.
Oh, yeah.
I think. We really don't know the origins of this crystal yet, but it's to be determined in later episodes of this show. The point is, we got some clips. We're rolling them. Jordan's here.
Hello, I am here. And I'm in the middle of these guys, which is actually the best place to be.
Yeah, he's here to mix things up. He's here to bring a new spin to the show.
Oof.
You know, bringing the spice back to VFX Artists React, so you can count on him to really bring us to the zingers today.
What I'm here for, boom.
Is that your tagline?
That's it. First zinger of the day in the bag. That's what I do.
I feel like that one's been claimed. I think you need a different one.
We'll work on it.
Are we just going right into it?
I think we should.
Yeah, cool, let's do it.
I'm excited.
Negotiations over.
Judge Dredd, awesome movie. It came out 11 years ago. It's crazy that we haven't looked at it because it is a great example of a movie with a ton of CG and lots of practical stuff, and it's a great mix. It's a grounded approach to all the effects in the movie.
Oh yeah, give me that
that's
phantom
sick.
camera slow motion. Everybody's on drugs, so everything's slightly rainbow colored.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And it doesn't look like he has that much excess skin. So that must have been one heck of a blast, man.
Good use of practical. So they must be hitting
Yeah.
them with air cannons.
That's what I'm wondering. What are they pelting him with?
I watched that tummy shot and I was like, that looks unreal. It doesn't look real.
Like a fake tummy?
Like
think it's real.
Look how much the skin is moving.
I think if you blast somebody with like pressurized air, that's what happens.
Are you sure? Like around the lower belly area.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little warped.
Warped, yeah, that's what it looks like to me too.
It looks like a plastic bag.
Look at his nipple on the top right there at the beginning. It like almost comes off. It's
It
insane.
looks like his nipple's about to pop off.
It's a lot of wind. He's getting hit with a lot of wind, but it's also probably very focused.
So I did do some research on this shot, and they've said that that is real. They used insanely powerful air cannons to blast everyone in this shot.
I don't know. It looks like around the hip, especially belly and hip, it looks like there's some warping going on, especially at the end there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's some extra warping on top of it.
Yeah, somebody's not going in there and like making the ripples of the skin themselves. They're just taking the overall form of the thing, just going, and just
Yeah.
distorting it.
They're giving it a little bit of extra liquefiedness.
But it could also just be a dude going, as he flies back. I don't know, we've done a lot of like air cannons in people's faces and stuff in slow motion, and it looks like that.
We have some options here. Slow-mo guys.
Boo, boo. This is why humans are great right here. This is why you keep going, you know?
humanity.
This is why humanity's made it where we've made it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking for, those tiny ripples.
I mean, the dude might just have more skin. I bet he was surprised. That's got to be a one-take wonder. You don't do that
I mean,
twice.
it's got to feel like you're getting punched when that much air hits you.
All right, Sam, I got a treat for you. I know you love tiny people.
I do.
In your movies. I know you love it when it's also like retro VFX.
Those are dolls! Those are dolls! Yeah. That's all dolls and mirrors. God damn it!
Uh-oh.
So you're looking at it, you're like, oh my God, how'd they do it? This is the Incredible Shrinking Man. Every day he wakes up and he's a little bit tinier.
Oh, she built him
Oh
the
my
house.
God.
She built, that's true love.
Look at that little guy.
Look at that little guy.
That is like the mangiest looking cat.
There's actually like a famous acting cat called Orangey. This cat's in a bunch of famous movies, including this one.
Does it have an IMDb?
It does.
No way.
Wow.
It also won 2 Patsies, which is the pet version of Oscars.
That's a thing. I didn't know that. That's a thing. Oh, wow. Get it.
Oh, dude, his back got scratched.
Oh,
wow.
whoa, wow. This is really evolving.
Like, are they doing rear projection for this or setting up some sort of like image on a screen within the set? Because that's what it seems like to me.
So he is literally just standing in front of a movie screen, and they are projecting an image onto that movie screen. The Mandalorian is basically a fancy version of what they did here. The new era LED walls, things like that, this is basically the old version of that. So they're, you have to have a whole set, you have to have projector, like it's so complicated to set this stuff up. Like the actual visual effect that happens is simple, but everything else around it's so complicated. And having like the knowledge, like, okay, light's gonna come from here, the angle's gonna look like this, we're gonna shoot everything deep focus so that the cat's in focus and he's in focus and it doesn't look weird.
Also, it's a matter of making sure your light that's hitting your screen is bright enough to start to match what your actual environment looks like. Because once again, it's like, all right, imagine you're playing a video on your TV and you're wanting to adjust the brightness so that the white wall on your TV is as bright as the white wall in your room. There's a lot of calibration going into it, a lot of light meters and stuff.
And there's no screens. You're not looking at the screen on your camera. You're looking at a viewfinder with a mirror that's reflecting it, right? There's no digital screens. There's no checking your exposure. Like, you can do it with light meters, mirrors, and just like grit.
We're just so spoiled these days. It
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Honestly, though, that one shot of the cat coming inside and the whole set shaking is the best shot in this
Yeah,
sequence
I
for
agree.
me.
This is a trailer shot right here. This is the kind of
Yeah.
shot you put in like the trailer and people are like, I have no idea how you did the shot.
Wow.
The rest of these shots, in a way, they're not technically complicated. They're just really work intensive, like where they have to basically cut him out. They film him on some blank background, but then somebody goes in and by hand cuts him out from every frame. So if you look closely, on the edges, you'll see dark parts and you'll see bright parts. So when you have film and you're exposing onto it, when you want to put 2 images onto a piece of film, if you've already exposed all of the film and you project a new thing onto it, you end up with this double exposure. And that doesn't look good, obviously. Things get brighter when that happens in the final result of the film. So when you're going to project a new element onto your film, you're going to be doing compositing, AKA visual effects. You need to keep that new part of the film where the new element's going to go in unexposed. And so that's when you use what's called a holdout mat. And it holds out that part from being exposed. It keeps it all black. And then you can blast that with your new image. It basically gives you a nice looking frame. However, if it's not lined up perfectly, you'll still see black lines from the holdout mat not being perfectly aligned. And you'll see bright lines where you're getting little bits of double exposure where the new image and the old image are slightly overlapped.
How do you find this stuff? Incredible. Nico always comes out with these like crusty gems that when you wipe them off have like the most brilliant faceted sparkle to them.
This is all thanks to the comments that people leave.
Look, I love these crusty old clips. If you have something that's super old and forgotten to the sands of time, let us know in the comments below.
But you know what? I got more in my pocket. Christian, go to the next one.
My experiments did not turn out quite like yours, Henry.
Dr. Pretorius is going to show us his homunculi.
Wait, homunculi? That means multiple tiny mutant men.
Even royal amours are reduced.
Wow, that's cool.
Sorry, I mean,
Love how they built the set to match. That's great.
Was that a set? So is he on a transparent background? No, but his shadow's on the ground. Yeah, I see his hand on the table, but I see a shadow on the book, but I also see some shadow
I see
on
the shadow too.
on the table.
Could they have rebuilt to scale that table and book and just pulled the whole thing.
No, his reflections across the whole table, and the glass jars are reflected across the whole table. I wonder if they actually have a shadow that they're like compositing in. But no, you can't make film darker with compositing. You can only make film lighter, because as you shine light onto film, it breaks down the crystal, and then that's what lets light through and makes white. So you can't like cover it up and make it shadow. So that's not a set down below. That's not an oversized set. Like that is the countertop.
Yeah, I mean, you can see his reflections in it.
There's no reflections of the little dudes in the desktop. But like,
Yeah, you can see that.
But the fact that it reflects all the jars just makes it feel like it's there.
Man,
Oh, wow.
they are just
They are
flexing, bro.
1935, this would inspire a whole generation of filmmakers, this one shot. Is that just some insanely good tracking?
I think so.
Yeah, they're just tracking him in there.
She won't dance to anything but Mendelssohn's spring song.
It's not even separated.
Look at the shot.
It's
Look at
crazy.
the glass refraction.
yes.
And he's got like the stuff in front of her too.
Like there's no matting lines or anything. What's going on? The compositing is nuts.
It's bonkers.
I'm trying to look for the classic tells of early compositing, light edges, dark edges, like a little bit of frame jitter, but it's like so smooth.
You know what I bet is going on here? Like this shot in particular really shows it. So you see the reflections / wrinkles in the
Yeah.
glass or whatever that are kind of on top of her. When you're going to expose onto a piece of film already exposed, as we mentioned, you need to have a holdout mat that's blocking that part of the film from being exposed. So she's doing her little dance, and that spot's blocked from being exposed.
His shadow changes the refraction of that highlight in the front.
So I think this is a thing where the holdout mask, it has spots in it for the background to still show through. It's gotta. Like the little stickers on the glass, that's just gotta be cut out from the holdout mask.
Maybe it's real. We haven't talked about it, but maybe it's real.
That's always the possibility at the end of the day.
Yeah, this was 1935. People were smaller back then.
People were smaller, you're right.
That's a fact. So, something to think about.
This feels to me like the cleanest VFX from this era that I've ever seen. Just the fact that we are still struggling to figure out what exactly their technique for some of the reflections were means, it was expertly well done. Whoever accomplished this, whatever team did this, what is this, 90
this
years
is almost
ago?
100 years old.
Well done, Bride of Frankenstein.
We're gonna be looking at the comments to see if anyone has a better theory on how this was accomplished. And once we figure that out, well, we'll let you know. So make sure you subscribe.
We're getting out of here.
I'm taking us back to 2013, the good old days. I love simulations, and one of my favorites is crowd simulations.
There's two guys with the same blue shirt.
Dude, immediately he got it. This guy has an eye.
Wait.
Yes.
I see them, yeah.
Immediately.
They're twins, they're brothers. They stay together.
Yes.
Even when they're zombies, they stick together because they're brothers.
That's the real story of World War Z. A lot of people missed it. The way that simulations work at the base level is you have your initial character models and you convert them into what are called agents. And those agents are duplicated hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of times to create these armies. And when you have so many thousands of people, you don't have so many thousands of models, right? You're gonna see duplicates. In here, you have thousands of zombie agents that have the goal of climbing up this geometry. Obviously, up until this point, I'd seen a bunch of different crowd simulations done in film. Like the first one that comes to all of our minds, I'm sure, is like Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, right?
So it begins.
The creation of the software massive to create these agents that operate on a massive scale, and it's perfectly named. But this was like, the agents in this sim are acting different than anything I'd ever seen, where they're literally crawling up each other. They're acting in whole new ways, driven by motivation. It's the coolest thing in the world, where the motion data that they have, all these agents have, is climbing up nets. They did motion capture of climbing up ramps, falling down ramps.
So it's basically just triggering an animation based on the position. Okay.
Yes.
But there's too much animation happening where I'm seeing that, and that can't be part of that system at this point.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like with these crowd simulations, they are limited in some respects. You're gonna see awkward things. I know you guys looked at Polar Express and you saw those elves. You'll see them avoiding each other in Polar Express too. They'll kind of just herkily-jerkily avoid each other. And so what's really cool, MPC made this with their in-house crowd sim tool called Alice. At any point, they could take any agent and promote them to what they call a hero, where they would send it to the animation department and they would do custom animation, the really cool animations like grabbing the guy's head and pulling him back, and then they do cloth simulation on the top, and then they could plug them back into the simulation. The minute that you see people getting close to screen in these crowd simulations, the heroes start coming in. But all the other agents that are far away from the camera are either climbing, falling down a ramp, or it's triggering ragdoll.
It's really like they wash up against the side like water too.
Yeah, they slam up against the side. Like a lot of this would be hand animation. It would be those heroes that we talked about. But the flow of the characters, their initial goal was layout, motion, and flow of direction. Basically just trying to get the initial like shape of water, and then they sub in all the extra elements. You know, the custom animation of a guy landing and reaching out and getting swallowed, and just all integrated so nicely to make this kind of stuff. And it blew me out of the water when I saw it. I'd never seen anything like this before.
The whole art of visual effects, when stuff's all CG, it's kind of like you're watching a cartoon, and it's giving you a story, but it's not necessarily surprising you with like a magic trick. And when CGI and visual effects are like photorealistically perfect, then you're starting to watch a magic trick. And it's like, it's a different realm of like, the CGI, I've generated this imagery to like convey something to you that doesn't exist, versus like, this is CGI, I'm tricking you into thinking this does exist, but it doesn't. But I love it when you get a little trick once in a while.
I guess on the other side, you have like Avatar, which is like, okay, it's CG, and then you just stop thinking about it as CG because it's so CG that you just become used to seeing it.
But it's still an animated film. Like Avatar still feels like I'm watching a Pixar film from 30 years in the future. Pixar is probably going to take offense to that. But
Well, I'm curious when the last Avatar comes out. That's supposed to take place on Earth, I believe.
yeah, we have water, we have fire.
Earth,
and then-
Fire, Heart,
Yeah.
Captain
Heart.
Planet.
Wait, is there heart?
Wait, is it actually a fancy Captain Planet
Think about
origin
it.
story?
It ends on planet
It
Earth,
might
Captain
be.
Planet.
Well, then what's the first one?
Wind.
Wind.
Wind, they fly a lot.
Yeah. Avatar, the Way of Wind, which is
Water.
secretly the name. Fire. Fire's the next one's volcano people.
Fire.
Wind, water.
And then Earth. And then we kick off the Captain Planet cinematic universe.
Starring Don Cheadle. It's what we're all waiting for. I mean, but I am curious when they do go to Earth if they're going to ground it a little more. If they're going to go, I mean, they probably won't.
Is that a pun?
I wish it was, because then I would have dropped a boom, and everyone would have loved it.
Missed opportunity. Now, if your cereal bowl is still half full and we're at the end of this episode, you can always hop over to corridordigital.com and get the extended cuts. And when it's just us on the couch, it's also us being a little extra goofy and laughing. So, you know, help you put a smile on that face. There's not already a big one there already. And you know what? If you just want more React right now and you don't even sign up for the website, that's fine. Here's a playlist. Just keep watching.